Now we can, there is one thing to keep us comfortable. What we need to do to keep comfortable is if each of the tables could breathe in turn. So we don't spill all the air. So on the 7th minute of every hour, you're okay for 2 minutes, okay? On the 9th minute, you can breathe for 2 minutes. So it's going to get a bit warm in here. Unless CILIP have totally changed their air conditioning system from when I used to be in here regularly, it's going to get warm. So if you look at it before you sleep, you know, I shall take it as a personal slight.
Best of luck with that, Joe. Unless it's changed, it used to be absolutely rubbish.
It's the unlucky people sitting right there as well.
Yeah. Thanks for doing 2 per side. Thanks for doing those 2. Because it's much better that way, isn't it?
To make notes.
Yeah.
It's a bit crowded. Absolutely.
You think?
Just a little bit about briefly.
Yeah,
Then
please
pass
do.
over to you.
Yeah.
We've still got a couple of people waiting to come, so I'm just going to tell you briefly a little bit about the International Library Information Group. As I said briefly, because we put a little bit of marketing material in your pack so you can have a look at if you've got a journey back home. The International Library Information Group is one of CILIP's special interest groups. So if you're not a member of ILIG, then think about it when you're renewing your CILIP membership at the end of the year. If you're not a member of CILIP, then think about rejoining or joining CILIP because it makes sense. The more of us who are actually members of the Professional Library Association, the stronger it's actually going to be, and the more we can influence libraries and work together in the future. The International Library Information Group, our special interest is international librarianship. Libraries have global issues, they have global challenges, we have requirements, and what we do is we try and bring together experience, knowledge sharing, create awareness of the issues which are affecting librarians, information professionals across the world. So have a little look at the stuff we put in the pack, and if you feel the urge, feel free to join us or have a look at our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter.
All right, whatever you're doing. And just to warn you that although the afternoon is entirely practical, not everybody's going to be able to report back unless you don't want to go home, unless you've already booked your hotels for the next 3 days of being here. So just manage your expectations. Although it's going to be highly practical, with 7 or 8 tables, we're not going to be able to get everyone to be able to report back fully. But I'll use a few trainers' tricks to get as many things out of you as I can. Okay, as Doug says, I'm Terry Kendrick. How many of you have been on one of my courses before? Oh, that's good news. I can use jokes I've been using for 20 years then. That's really good news. I've been involved in library marketing for 20 years or so. Originally as a librarian back in 1978 to 1986. I was a professional CILIP card carrying librarian. And in those days, library marketing was a kind of dirty word. The minute I would say to people, well, we ought to choose some specific groups of users to make a real big effort with, people say, no, the library is for everybody. And that's still true. The library is for everybody who's a legitimate user of it. But the things have changed, whereas instead of the initial horror of not everybody will get equal service, there has been a recognition that different people need different things out of our libraries. So therefore, we should reflect that in the way we do it. It was all about giving the potential reader or reader information about the library. Things have changed dramatically. And in fact, now if you have a quick look on Google Images, for instance, under library marketing, you'll see that the sort of materials you get, there's very little information on these. We've made that beautiful shift as a profession from information to inspiration. Some of the key ideas of marketing and is using them to drive its way forward. It's not always been like that, but it's certainly looking good now. You know, things like My Library Showed Me How to Go Green, lovely pictures, you know, Feed Your Brain. I'm assuming this is an academic one with some crazy looking guy on there, you know. This would not have happened 20, 25 years ago. But now it does, and it's the right marketing orientation. So that's what I was doing, and over those years I've trained almost 2,000 librarians around the world. You get the thinking right, the implementation and the campaigns will be obvious. The thinking is the hard bit that sometimes we don't like to do, but today there's going to be a lot of thinking. You're going to do a lot of thinking, and I'm hoping by the end of the day with all the exercises that we've done, that you will feel that you're now competent to go out and do a great job, or at least it's been a revision for the good job you're doing already. Now, as I say, I've done this quite a lot, and that shift from information to inspiration is the most important part of the marketing process. And there's still lots of work to do, of course. I don't know if any of you have been watching this program on the television called Freshers, University of Bedford. I'm really surprised they let them in. Where you get a bunch of fresher students appear, and every now and then they seem to make reference to the library. And there was one girl on the other night saying, how many people know this program? Not many people. How many people here know, it'll be cool now, TOWIE? Right? The only way is Essex, for those of you not as cool as I am, okay? It's very much like TOWIE in a university, with people arriving at the beginning of the Freshers' Week. And there's this one or two people on there saying, you know, apart from having some good nights out, are saying, oh, I'm going down the library. And one girl says, oh, I don't think I should go down the library. I don't like using books. Okay? So obviously there's a lot of marketing still to be done out there to these sort of people, that it's more than just books. And hey, actually, this will help you get a 2-1. And if you don't get a 2-1, getting a job is really quite hard. You know? So there's all sorts of issues around that. So we're going to talk today about how do we inspire those sort of people into library use. And I know you're all from different sectors, okay, so it's not important that you're from any one. I use that as an example. But we're going to do it with that. We're trying to spend as little money as possible and having the biggest impacts that we can get on those. Now, in practice, what that means is we will be doing this. Now, you've all got a copy of this. You won't be able to read it on the screen. Luckily, Doug's been very generous and he's done them 2 per side for you, like I hoped he would. So it should be quite readable. The morning essentially is about getting on board all the key concepts again. But the important thing is, you know, is not just understanding this stuff, but it's also doing it. So the afternoon we're going to be doing it, developing marketing planning type materials from this. You're not going to go away having written some clever little strapline or advertising slogan, because to be frank, that's advertising, not marketing. And many of you will know that by now. But what we're going to do is get very, very practical. You won't see me using mega amounts of marketing jargon on this, but any of you who have been reading the marketing books will probably recognize some of the concepts used in a different way. I've been a consultant Great way to get this message out, and it'll all be based on the thinking that we're going to be doing this morning. I hope that's what you came for. I mean, nobody in the wrong course already, are they? I mean, I did hear of somebody who last week was on the course, and 30 minutes in, they just told me, somebody stood up and said, "Oh, this isn't the course I thought I was on. I've got to go and find my proper course." So everybody's okay. That's good. Now, I'm going to start off with quite an old definition. This comes from probably from the 1980s, if not before, and it's from a professor of marketing called Malcolm McDonald at Cranford University, who is probably the most practical as a dialogue. That's the first important thing. It's not just about telling people stuff, okay? Quite often people think marketing is about telling people about the library. It's a dialogue. It's you telling people, then responding, you reacting to that response, and a relationship starts to build up there, from which you can get down to the things which are really going to make the difference to them, where they say, "I want to be associated with this librarian because I'm in a dialogue with them." The chances are they're not using the library, they're using you and the library. Because we're a service, we're not selling beans, we're a service, and it's about us as human beings. Human beings provide services, so it's a dialogue. Over time, notice it's not about one-off surveys. By all means, do one-off surveys if you want, but this is a dialogue over time. So you have to keep this conversation going with these people. If you don't keep the conversation going, they will slide away from it, and somebody else will steal in and take away what could be naturally your contribution to their lives. So dialogue over time with specific groups of people. Very clearly, one size won't fit all for almost anything these days. When you start looking at what we have as users of libraries, they come at it from all sorts of different angles. There are lots of legitimate reasons to use a library, lots of legitimate ways to access library materials, and just lots of different ways of doing it, different types of people. So you have to reflect this. It's about dialogue over time with specific groups of customers, or in our case, users. And I'd rather prefer the word user than customers. But that's just me. When we go to hospital, I don't want to be a customer. I want to be a patient. I don't want to be treated like a customer. I don't want 25 different places I can go around the country to do this. I want one that's damn good near me. I want to be a patient, not a customer. Consider, should these be users? They're library users. In what way are they customers? It's a different, a way of looking at it. Now, I know we had to possibly, as a profession, had to go through that process of thinking about customers first. But let's get a bit more sophisticated now about how we do this. So, with specific groups of customers or users whose needs you understand in depth. And this is really important. Whose needs you understand in depth. It's not about just a library survey. You might want to do one of those. No problem in doing them. I'm not saying don't survey your users. But you're going to have to be cleverer than your surveys. If you're going to do marketing, you're going to have to know things that the customers, the users, the clients, whatever you want to call them, don't even know themselves yet. You're going to have to be cleverer than them if you're going to understand their needs in depth. Because it's the only in-depth things that's going to turn their head your way and say, wow, I really do need that. And that really is important. People to think, yeah, that hits my hot buttons now. Not, oh, in one day it might be useful sometime in the future, but no, I need that now. And those librarians, they're damn clever. They understand my needs in depth, and I haven't even worked out yet, but they're damn right. You know, yes, 1 or 2 weeks before I have to give an assignment in an academic institution, for instance, I do need help. And I don't need the librarian to tell me you should have started working earlier. I need the librarian to get me out of the mess. They understand my needs in depth. That's what understanding the needs in depth is. And those needs will almost never be about the subject area of what you're doing. They'll be about the way people are, what they're trying to do in their lives, what they're trying to get to. Winning offer. They'll always go to Google, they'll always go to a friend, they'll always go to, I don't know, that doctor if you're from the health service who helped them last time. All sorts of things like that. You've got to have this offer which is better than the offers of their other ways of doing it or their competitors in a marketing approach. Because everybody's got mega amounts of competitors now. It's not just Google. There's even the competitor of not even bothering to do it. You know, why should I bother to find information? Why bother should I do to this? You may be able to say, look, you know, if you have this, you'll be able to do this, which is what you really want to do. You can't get it better than by using a library to do that. They may not have even spotted that. We must never assume the readers are cleverer than us. Okay? So that is a really powerful definition. Now, I would suggest to you try and actually memorize that or something like it and test all your marketing against it. Remember, marketing is a dialogue over time with specific groups of customers whose needs you understand in depth and for whom you develop. Getting a little bit practical. Remember, we're a service. It's about us. It's about us and how we sort of interact and engage with the people who have got a legitimate call on library service. And we can have the best buildings in the world. You can have the best stock in the world. Well, you know that. Some of you probably have bought lots of electronic sources, whether you're in the health service, public libraries, or academic, or whatever. You bought these, and some of them maybe aren't being used as much as you would like. You've got the stuff there, but it's not having the impacts, it's not having the types of outcomes that we'd hope. Partly that's going to be in a marketing sense because you're not engaged with it. You're not really engaged with it with the users. And this is the set of things that you need to have as a good marketer. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to score yourself on this in a minute. And then for the rest of the day, I want you to keep in the back of your mind where your strengths are and where the areas are that you could improve or you'd want to improve. Because you do need not just one of these, you need the full set of them to do it well. So what is the four? And site commands, file type commands. You want to understand everything which makes you add some value to what they're doing. You have to be able to do this. You have to have the knowledge. But it's no good just having the knowledge to be able to market properly. You've got to be able to plan. You've got to be able to take a step back and think about it and say, if I do this, what will happen with that? I've got this amount of resource, what's the best way to allocate it? What should I do when? Will the net set of outcomes be anything like what I was trying to achieve at the beginning? So you've got to have these planning skills as well. Now, in addition to that, you've got to be able to get a message across. You've got to get somebody to stop and listen to you. And that is so hard these days. People are very, very busy. Why are they going to stop and listen to you? Because I'm the librarian. They don't give a damn. Or what they will care about is, have you got something that you can tell them about, which, if they do it the way you suggest, or in another way they work out, will get them quicker, faster, easier, cheaper to where they're trying to get to, which is keeping them awake at the moment at night. Then they'll start to listen to you. So you've got to be able to communicate. Remember, communicating is not just telling, it's listening, it's that dialogue over time helps you with the communication. And then finally, you've got to be able to build up relationships. You should be absolutely